I'm so devastated to hear this. You will be deeply missed, Kaylee. When Millie Bobby Brown posted those words across a quiet black and white image of her former co-star, it brought a sudden, heartbreaking pause to millions of feeds across the globe. Only hours earlier, news began trickling out about a devastating accident on a quiet road in Maryland. Kaylee Hottle, the 18-year-old actress who captured hearts worldwide as Jia in the MonsterVerse franchise, had lost her life. A young talent who had spent the last several years breaking down massive barriers in Hollywood was gone in an instant. For fans who watched her command the screen alongside giant titans, her co-stars who knew her behind the scenes, and the global deaf community that saw her as a beacon of representation, the shock has been overwhelming. To understand how the story unfolded, we have to look directly at the verified facts surrounding the morning of July 21st. According to official releases from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, emergency responders were called to a single vehicle crash at approximately 2:52 a.m. in Ijamsville, Maryland. Hottle was riding as a passenger in a 1995 Honda Accord driven by a 19-year-old male when the vehicle veered off the right side of the two-lane road and struck a concrete culvert. Investigators believe excessive speed played a major role in the vehicle leaving the roadway. While the driver and another passenger survived, Hottle sustained severe injuries. Emergency services rushed her toward a regional trauma center, but her heart stopped during transport, and medical staff were ultimately unable to revive her. The news first reached the public not through a Hollywood press release, but in an intensely personal way. Her father, Joshua Hottle, went live on Facebook in American Sign Language, visibly weeping as he shared the unthinkable reality with family and friends before flying to Maryland. Shortly afterward, the Texas School for the Deaf, where Kaylee was finishing her senior year of high school, published a statement confirming the tragedy and asking the public to respect the privacy of the Hottle family while they mourn. Within hours, major outlets confirmed the loss, and the internet was flooded with tributes honoring her memory. The public response was immediate and deeply emotional, as fans began sharing clip compilations of her scenes with Kong. Co-stars who had worked with her on set began breaking their silence. Millie Bobby Brown, who shared key moments with Hottle during the press and production of 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong, spearheaded the tributes from the film's main cast. Her message was simple, raw, and devoid of performative Hollywood polish. It reflected a real, unvarnished grief over a young life taken far too soon. That wave of tributes quickly expanded across the industry. Oscar winner Marlee Matlin released a statement expressing that she was absolutely gutted by the news, praising Hottle's extraordinary light. Troy Kotsur, another trailblazing deaf actor who won an Academy Award for Coda, shared a poignant reflection about how the loss hit him as a parent, reminding everyone how fragile time really is. Alaqua Cox, who starred in Marvel's Echo and worked alongside Hottle on an upcoming project, posted through tears about the heartbreak of losing someone who felt like a sister in the craft. Alexander Skarsgård, who spent months learning American Sign Language on set specifically so he could communicate directly with Hottle during filming, had previously spoken with immense pride about her natural talent and poise. Seeing these heavyweights of cinema and advocate groups unite in grief highlighted just how profoundly Hottle had touched those around her in her short 18 years. On social media, the conversation surrounding the tragedy naturally split into two distinct areas, honoring her monumental impact and reflecting on the horrifying reality of vehicular accidents involving young adults. Fans posted clips from interview archives showing Hottle explaining the nuances of American Sign Language on set. In those old clips, she candidly discussed the friction between literal script translations and authentic ASL syntax, showing a mature, sharp understanding of performance that far exceeded her age. Online communities rallied around her family, urging users to avoid salacious speculation about the crash and instead center the narrative on her legacy. Why has the specific loss resonated so deeply across the cultural landscape? To understand that, you have to realize what Kaylee Hottle represented. Before Godzilla vs. Kong, authentic deaf representation in multi-hundred-million-dollar summer tentpoles was almost non-existent. Typically, studios cast hearing actors or treated disability as a secondary gimmick. But when director Adam Wingard cast Hottle, she wasn't just a background character. She was the emotional core of the entire franchise. She was the bridge between humanity and a giant mythical creature. She signed naturally, assertively, and brilliantly on screen. For millions of deaf children watching at home, seeing a young girl who looked and communicated like them holding the center frame in a massive global blockbuster was groundbreaking. Her performance wasn't a token gesture. It earned her a Saturn Award nomination and established her as a genuine actor in her own right. Her rise also challenged how Hollywood approaches accessibility. On set, directors, producers, and veteran actors had to adapt to her linguistic needs, learning ASL and restructuring filming environments. She proved that young disabled performers don't need to be accommodated as an afterthought. They can carry massive franchises on their shoulders. That is why her death feels like such a crushing blow to the entertainment industry. It wasn't just the loss of a famous actor. It was the premature end of a career that was actively shifting the industry's standard for inclusion. When we analyze the online reaction to events like this, we see a complex dynamic in modern digital culture. In the internet age, public figures often become abstract icons onto whom audiences project their feelings. But moments of sudden, tragic mortality break through that digital barrier. The speed with which news travels across platforms like TikTok, X, and Instagram can sometimes feel chaotic or intrusive. Yet in this instance, the overarching response has been marked by a rare, solemn unity. Rather than turning the event into clickbait or mindless drama, commentators and fans alike have focused on lifting up her family and preserving her artistic contributions. At the same time, this tragedy raises sober questions about the road safety statistics affecting young drivers. Police reports pointing toward excessive speed late at night serve as a grim reminder of how fragile life is, particularly for teenagers navigating early adulthood. Hottle was a senior preparing to graduate, balancing her normal high school experience at the Texas School for the Deaf with the demands of an international acting career. She was navigating two vastly different worlds with grace and humility. It is essential to separate what we know as verified truth from the noise that occasionally surfaces during high-profile tragedies. Factually confirmed, Kaylee Hottle passed away from injuries sustained in a single-car accident in Maryland. Factually confirmed, police are investigating speed as a factor, the driver survived, and her family alongside her school have publicly released statements of mourning. What remains unconfirmed or speculative are ongoing details of the police investigation, which authorities have stated will take time to formally finalize. Respecting that boundary isn't just about journalistic responsibility, it's about treating a grieving family with basic human dignity. As Hollywood and the global deaf community process this immense loss, a critical question faces the film industry going forward. Will studios build upon the foundation that Kaylee Hottle helped construct, continuing to open doors for authentic, diverse representation in massive mainstream cinema? Or was her casting an anomaly that required her unique brilliance to pull off? The legacy she leaves behind suggests that the door she opened cannot be easily closed. Her work proved that language is never a barrier to emotion, connection, or stardom. Though her life was cut devastatingly short at 18, the footprint she left on cinema and in the hearts of those who worked with her will endure long after the screens go dark.